Spider-Man, Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. Clearly, I forgot the words. Y'all caught that right. Yeah, I know. You caught that. Your ears are probably bleeding too. Anyway, let's do this. Happy Black History Month. This is your Spider-Man. I'm going to talk about Hopi Brown. I'm going to talk about Miles Morales. So, first, let's get the original Hopi Brown out of the way. So the original Hobie Brown was not so much a hero as a villain forced to be a villain. So, depending on your Spider-Man lore, if you know anything about the original Hobie Brown, who is the Prowler, you probably couldn't hear that through the mask, and I tripped over my tongue. The Prowler was the original Hobie Brown. The Kingpin basically forced him to become a criminal. So, it was kind of like do this or die. So that's like the long and short. You should probably Google the Prowler because if you watch Into the Spider Verse, you'll be a little bit confused at how Miles Morales' uncle was the Prowler in Into the Spider Verse. Whole different Prowler that I'm talking about. I'm talking about Hobie Brown. Your best reference is for you to go watch the '90s Spider-Man. You know, Spider Walker, Spider Walker, Radioactive Spider Walker, Spider Walker, Spider Walker, Spider Man. That Hobie Brown from the 616 is the original Prowler. Now, again, the Prowler had some dealings with the Kingpin that it wasn't really so much of a choice as you're going to do this or you're going to die. And even if you do this, you're still going to die. When the cartoon, they got rid of the whatever power thing to blow it up. And Hobie Brown kept the suit and decided in the cartoon that the Prowler would fight crime even though he was a criminal. Okay? I forgot how that works out, but somehow or another he got away and he went to go fight crime as the Prowler, but he also was once a criminal. Now, in the comic book, the Prowler is a little bit more evasive and hard for me to explain because I'm still trying to figure out what the hell was going on in the 616, but the Prowler was not just a street level thug, but he was a pretty good fighter. So if you go for the comic book, the Prowler, still Hobie Brown, and he had a little bit more depth to him than the cartoon Hobie Brown. However, both of them are black, and they are in the 616. So now let's move to Spider Punk. Okay, Spider Punk, aka Hobie Brown. He is a black man who lives in England. He plays a rock and roll instrument known as a guitar. He also fights with it, and he has spikes. Nothing's cooler than nothing's cooler than spikes. Anyway, speaking of spikes, so his suit has spikes. I'm pretty sure that they're on the fist too, but I can't really remember. I know they're on his head and they're on his jacket, like Ghost Rider. He has spikes on his jacket. And I think he may have one or two spikes on the guitar, but I'm not going to swear to it because I didn't really get into him. When he came out, I don't even know where the hell I was. But he came out, I want to say late 90s because Spider-Man 2099 came out between 94 and 93, possibly 95. And I think he only had a run till about like 96, 97. And I was doing everything trying to get my acting career off the ground, so I really had time for comics. But I loved Miguel O'Hara. We'll get back to him in another video. Anyway, so Spider-Punk goes around with his band. They play guitars, and you guys can go fact check that just in case I'm wrong. Or, if I'm not wrong, it's probably all been retconned. Okay, just remember, whenever I tell you something, it was before the retconning of 2010 and 2008. Anything after 2010 and 2008, I have no knowledge of because I stopped reading comics when they screwed up the X-Men and took it in a whole different direction. And then there was that whole House of M thing, and that kind of really did it in for me. And I'm like, you know what, I'm done. And maybe, just maybe, I'll do a video on the Black X-Men. Okay, and yes, we will count Storm, even though technically Storm is the only African-American X-Men. Anyway, that being said, let's get back on Hobie Brown, Spider-Punk. So Spider-Punk has a band, he has a love interest, and every now and again he has to slide out and fight some crime. So again, please go check that, because, you know, if I'm wrong, I'd like to know that I'm wrong. So, you know, just to clear that up, I don't know as much about Spider-Punk other than the fact that he is actually full black, and you guys should go check him out. I'm gonna go check him out too. I might even start collecting comics again, but only maybe Spider-Man. And if they straighten the X-Men up, I may go back. But I'm only gonna buy back issues of X-Men after Executioner Song and after Onslaught. So after all that shit, then I'm done. Because everything they did after that just totally gave me the finger. Red hot poker. Right up the ass. Okay. So now let's go to the black superhero that you guys are familiar with. Miles Morales. Now understand this, that Miles Morales is not actually all the way black. Miles Morales, much like me, is mixed. Miles Morales is Latino, or Latinx, and part black. Okay? In fact, I'm going to do a bonus video after this, just to be on the safe side, explaining to people how being mixed in half works, okay? Especially in the comic book world, because some people just don't have that right, and they've mislabeled a few people. Anyway, that being said, so Miles Morales, you all know if you've seen the Spider-Verse, his dad is a cop, and we don't know what the hell his mom does. I guess she's Susie Homemaker, but you know she's there, and she's cool. And depending on which cartoon you go to outside of Inside the Spider-Verse, in one Spider-Man cartoon, he's always been in Peter's world, and him, Peter, and Gwen, they all go to the same school, and so does Silk. That was like the last season of whatever that was for Spider-Man. And another Spider-Man, when Spider-Man and Miles were together, and Spider-Man saved Miles, but Miles got stuck in Spider-Man's dimension and became part of those agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So now you see why there's some confusion. So you have to go to Disney XD and see which they're doing with Spider-Man. And I think Disney XD is coming out with a brand new Spider-Man that introduced the backstory of Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Again, please go fact check that shit, because I could definitely be wrong there. Because sometimes everything you see on YouTube might actually be fan made, so you might want to check that out. Anyway, you know, if it comes like from everywhere, everything always, or a variant, because that little Mexican dude, yes, he's Mexican. He's cool as shit. You should follow him. He does give good information, and just like Roya the Destroyer and all these other people who do things, you should probably follow them. They have a little bit more resources than I have, and I'm not going to take this laptop all the way to the basement and go through all of my old comic books to let you guys know what's going on, or go into the back to find those shed with those little tiny power cards and power levels and all that, because they stopped doing that for some reason. But I got the cards I have, and that's how I have some of my information. But other than that, don't care, because everything that's on there has been retconned. Okay? And retcon is a very bad word for me, because retconning sucks. So let's get back to Miles Morales. Anyway, Miles Morales, fun fact, Alchemix. I know what you're thinking. Why did I bring up Alchemix? Take a good look at my suit, and you'll know why I put up Alchemix. Okay? Anyway, Miles Morales Spider was made at Alchemix Labs. Alchemix Labs, someone in a suit that looks just like this works at Alchemix Labs. What does that have to do with Miles Morales? So anyway, Miles Morales was, I guess, tagging Alchemix. If you go by Into the Spider-Verse movie, he was tagging Alchemix. I haven't read a comic with Miles Morales, so I don't really know if that's factual or not. Again, please go fact check that. In Into the Spider-Verse, it was Alchemix. And it took me forever to realize where the hell Alchemix was. Duh! 616-928, except for Miles does not exist in the 928. Just like he didn't exist in the 616. You see where we're going here? And so now, crossover, I'm pretty sure that Miles probably does exist in the 616 now. But I don't know how any of that shit works, because this guy, Miguel O'Hara, also didn't exist in the 616. He exists in the 928. But Alchemix is in Miles' world as well as Miguel's world. And that's why we bring that back around. Well, anyway, Alchemix Spider that bit Miles Morales apparently had some super juice, because Miles has a laser fist. He probably can even shoot laser beams from his hand. But they probably haven't explored that yet. And even if they did, put that in the comments and let me know, because I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Miles Morales. I am a big fan of Miguel O'Hara. Anyway, that being said, Miles Morales getting bit by the spider, if you go with the Into the Spider-Verse universe thing, his spider had endowed him with some super shit. Not only does he have an electric blast, but Miles can turn invisible. Cool, right? You would think that little kid does not deserve all those things, but he's got them. And so, with that, I'm going to end this video talking about me, Miguel O'Hara. So, fun fact, I worked as a chemist at Alchemex, and my boss was injecting everyone at Alchemex with a synthetic drug to make us obey everything he said. I figured it out because not only am I a chemist, but I'm secretly a genius, and I decided that to break myself from his control, I am going to make sure that I save myself. However, I'm combining a spider's DNA with a serum that I was working on. And somebody didn't like me, decided they wanted to sabotage my shit. Thanks, dumbass. And now, I'm Spider-Man. Yeah, that part you can Google because it happened at Alchemex and they thought they killed me in the explosion. But what they did was, I became Spider-Man. I snuck into my house. I got this suit for the Day of the Dead festival because it's made out of unstable molecules. So it doesn't rip, it doesn't tear, but I can bite you with my fangs, I can scratch you with my fangs, and I can do everything except for one thing. It shames me to say this. I'm the only spider without a damn spider sense. So yeah, I have to work harder to protect myself, because my reflexes don't automatically snatch me out the way. And even I stick to the wall differently, because I don't stick like normal spider people. I actually grow claws on my hands and feet. Not on my heels, though. Just like my toes and my fingertips. That's how I stick. There's like 10,000 microfibers and the claws come out. And I can scratch people when I'm fighting. Not only with these, but with these. So, yeah. And these things, I believe, are retractable. I know my finger claws are. Unless that's been retconned. Which is why retconning is a very, very, very bad word. That being said, I'm Echo Fang Grey Wolf. Right now, I'm Miguel O'Hara. I want you guys to go and fact check some of the things I said because I know I'm probably wrong because it's all been frickin' retconned. But anyway, remember, the original O.G.B. Brown from the 616 was the Prowler. Then second O.G.B. Brown was a rock star, and he's Spider-Punk. And then there's Miles Morales. So, that kills that. And what does Miles Morales have in common with me? He got bit by a spider made by my company. I guess I got the wrong spider. Anyway, that being said, this is Kung Fu Havoc number 2. Be seeing you. Stay tuned for my extra video. I should probably keep the suit on just to explain how those things work in the Up to the universe. That's what's gonna happen. Be seeing ya.